their way in, and look who it is. North Eption, the third-party connoisseurs themselves, making their way towards Dreamfire.
That's why we get that really clean Dark Veil. Reset from Dreamfire is perfect just because of the expenditure of that cooldown that gets them into a choke point without having to worry about what North Eption is doing. They're fully aware, as Dreamfire, that a team should be coming up behind them. North Eption are forced to take to the other choke, see if they can cut off Dreamfire or even chase down the last member of Pulverex. Meanwhile, however, the rotation ahead is what is being focused on, especially by Dreamfire, who are going for the win. A win that is largely going to be centered around how well you can play Fragment, Monument, and the escape for both.
Well, 100 Thieves, you're talking about escaping, are not going to let TYK out of their sights. They will be the first team fully eliminated, but not before Area 310 has something to say about all of the chaos happening in Monument. We knew there was a ring console, we knew there was information here, and they are just pressuring straight into the building.
It's so much aggression out of Area 310, but they have an advantage. Why not push it even through the smoke? We finally get a little bit of caustic gas laid down, and that's where Area 310 can really feel comfortable. They've got a great position in Monument, and now with the setup that Caustic is able to provide, should be able to hold on to it, grab a little bit more loot with Loba, make nice micro rotations with Wraith. This is Area 310's game to take control of.
Exactly. I love that they're able to utilize the Caustic exponentially, and even DZ sitting on triple white in the center of zone, navigating, trying to loot super quickly. And that's what's fun, right? We always talk about controller versus MNK. Sometimes they'll send the MNK player out to loot for the entirety of the team, especially having the knuckle clusters to be able to punish any of the teams immediately peeking. And just like a triple white a second ago, he's already leveled up to a blue.
Now the nice thing about Fuse is that it isn't just an aggressive pick that you can get offensive value out of, running people down with the Motherload. It's also fantastic for when you're in zone and don't have Evos. Knuckle Cluster is going to help so much to make incremental improvements in the armor of Dark Zero. It's already something that we're seeing play out with Zero, and they're likely going to swap around the armor so that he can do that for everyone. Elevate Dark Zero all the way up to blues substantially, and then continue that journey.
You talk about swapping the shields around. We're seeing just that. Kashera will elect to have the blue, and he can level his up throughout the utilization of an EMP. And now making that way towards the no-name area, there's likely some sort of beacon here that a couple of teams will look for that information as the Dojo have rotated throughout. Guys are kind of mirroring a Send movement pattern, but there are still two other teams in the vicinity. Think of who lands Overlook. Think of all of that.
And Riddle, the team, in fact, that lands over at Overlook, sitting in 19th at the moment. Got to play defensively, or rather that's the mentality that I'm sure they find themselves in. No Name is not a bad place to hold down, but it certainly isn't the most active, and unfortunately for them, they're mirrored by GO once again. We saw these two fight out in over by Landslide, the tunnel previously, just last game in fact. And now that we're seeing them right next door to each other again, it cannot be comfortable for these two squads that played polar opposite games in Split 2 playoffs to once again be face to face. In fact, they were even contesting each other for Millage in Split 2 playoffs rather, during qualification into finals. And now that they're at this again, it just makes the game so much more complicated for both.
I remember back when Gio was contesting Landslide as well, and that was just so wild. But you sort of think about it, now we've got that next ring information for some of our teams that are looking to hit the rotation. Element 6 sitting on triple purple, making their way out of the Skyhook area, and Alliance kind of finally beginning to arrive from Thermal Station. They made their way over towards Lava Fissure to look for extra information, but the last standing member of Pulverex is still outside the ring, Dia.
Ooh, see how well Pulverex are able to survive, because that's actually probably been the biggest tragedy of these first three games. Pulverex have not had a good time, even though they were doing pretty well in scrims. They just haven't had the same success going into the second day of champs. And well, Alliance, they got ahead. They managed to find not just a few more meds, but also a delayed rotation that could bring them through Landslide to even more. They got an evac tower as well. Pulverex is sitting behind them going, man, why can't my game be going that well?
I just need a little bit. You hear the evac tower going out, and immediately the shots come in. And from the map view, that is likely from Element 6 towards Alliance, looking to poke and prod. But Gonbare, they've got their own issues going forward, still electing to mirror that Riddle rotation. But now they've made their way up towards Climatizer, and that is FaZe's homeland. So that's where they'll be positioning themselves for that next set of gameplay.
Now, FaZe did not spawn in with a ring console right next to them, and so the way that they're playing this is interesting, but certainly explainable by the fact that they don't have next ring data to work with as easily. They had to jump over to Epicenter to grab it, and are planning on doing that likely again as they've sat back in the Macaroni building to take advantage of other teams that are rotating in, and then later be able to grab a little bit more information to make a more perfect decision for zones 5 and beyond.
Little poking, prodding, 1 point only on the board, so they're going to need every bit of damage, every bit of Evo shield leveling up. But the issue is, we are so low on ammo. They have about 30 bullets for the Hemlock before we jump on over to Alliance, sitting on triple blue in 16th place with 3 points. So this is another game, but with our point sponges happening at the top, you had LG with 32, Ascend with 31, Complexity with 19. Those were your top 3 coming into the final match on World's Edge. So even after one good game, you just need at least north of 20 points and you'll be within the top 5.
It's funny that you mentioned the ammunition because we jump over and in fact just 360
He always has so much.
So much. Oh my god. Now in the meanwhile, we've got Pulverex who have managed to recuperate for now. This is a tough place to be, especially with the second round closing in. A lot more damage, and as Graceful was saying yesterday, it's not that you can't pull off these same sort of ring stabilization strategies, but they are a lot more difficult to execute on, and it's not going to feel particularly good. FaZe do pick up a kill, which is nice for them. It is on to G.O, whose rotation up from No Name evidently has not gone smoothly, but it's also not the end of G.O. It's not a full push from FaZe. They're still very much focused on their rotation into Epicenter, their ability to gather more information, and that way lies Riddle Order.
Yeah, and they already have used a Dark Veil. They've coupled it with a couple Bangalore smokes. Snip3down does have one more available at the ready should he need it, but the grab lift going to the high ground, and Frex is already engaging. You hear the black hole in the distance. He's just trying to get into that pocket, find a good angle, and clean up what is able. But what will Riddle Order do about this? There's still teams looking to engage in this once they need to clean it up.
Now they have 2v1 advantage. FaZe thought about pushing for the rest of it. It's just one member left of G.O, but they're not going to be able to do too much. Meanwhile, Leica, however, takes down Jen Burton. That's a full thirst onto one of the members of Dark Zero, who were sat center monument.
FaZe just biding their time, also trying to keep an eye on what is happening behind them. They know they need to rotate. They have about 40 seconds left before that zone starts to pull them ever so further through Epicenter, through the train line. But LG Chivas carrying on that aggressive nature here on the underside of Monument. Niazo losing out of the shields, will fall down. That's going to be Dark Zero, but Jaguarez able to clutch up, and the defensive Dark Veil to allow them to hit the res, reset. Beautifully done.
Especially because they didn't drop shields for Nizel, which is what you would normally do. As soon as you lose a member, you're picking up the res, drop your shield so they can pick it up and have a little bit more. You're healing while they're being rezzed, and this time, because that doesn't happen, Dark Veil is the much better option if you want to play this like slow, full reset game. It's a little bit odd to see in the situation. However, since LG Chivas weren't operating with full information, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, and they will have that cooldown back up before the time's through.
I know we were talking about, as we see Element 6 waiting, trying to position themselves in a power position. Pulverex actually hit a full reset. They have all 3 of their members up and are looking to make a play to get further into zone. Meanwhile, FaZe, you just miss out on the platform sometimes, and you know, the floor is lava, and it is, and now they've got to turn their tides to the center of the action.
Really surprised to see FaZe taking the southern rotation into this zone. I'd expected them to go up to the north into a slightly worse spot, but one that didn't require them to be in the middle of so many teams. Instead, now they have to fight their way through what we know is LG in the area. And so they're sat in this corner, holding on for now, but I would not feel comfortable here as FaZe.
Meanwhile, an entire war was breaking out on the north. Complexity was able to take down Riddle Order, but Xset immediately thirding that, looking to clean up the northern side out of zone. But FaZe, can they keep pushing forward? You were talking about LG Chivas having that area of Monument. Well, now they've positioned themselves up in that center spire, which is going to be so tough to push. LCDF, on the other hand, will likely run into FaZe, and LG will just pepper from above.
You got to really appreciate the Bangalore smoke onto high ground as well. It puts more pressure on LG Chivas because they can no longer defend as effectively when they literally can't see you, can't fire down and harass onto FaZe. It is one directional now, and this whole situation in Monument is going to be cleared up because, well, we've got Dreamfire out here off to the north of the ring. Check out your mini-maps and notice that not a whole lot of people are safe moving into the next zone.
The pool is going to be absolutely atrocious, but speaking of safe, Jinx trying to clutch up. He's got a knock on a Phony. That's a full as well. And Sleep, the ability for him alone to clutch up, and he's still up with a gold knockdown, quick reset. LCDF is actually going to be able to clean up the rest of FaZe. So just like that, they will fall. But LCDF, the work is not over for them.
Such an uncomfortable spot, and unfortunate to see FaZe going out like that. We've still got a few struggles left in Monument. We do have a small bit of actual Monument still left, and LCDF and Northeption share that area right now. LG Chivas with a bit of high ground of their own, but this Element 6 Dreamfire rotation is really difficult. Both teams are going to be mirroring each other and likely harassing on the way in. Xset's in the mix as well. With an evac tower in front of you, Element 6 realize there's nowhere to go where they aren't flanked on both sides.
K-Swinney pushing forward, doing what they have to do. Dreamfire leaving the comfort of their building with the Dark Veil as they go for it straight into Xset. Fun already down, but Peta going at the hands of Sykes, able to hold the ground. Beast of the Hunt is activated, giving him a little bit of movement speed.
Oh my
Sykes,
God.
what are you doing?
One more.
We just need to connect it, but he will fall. Dreamfire, regardless, is eliminated, and Knock, the glue holding that team together, must play for his life.
Now, with both members now down and full thirsted, the smoke wasn't able to save them, and Element 6 could get aggressive. Enter Force 36 go down, LCDF out, Element 6 start rotating over towards Xset, but Starfight have already moved up to them where Dojo fight for their lives in Monument.
We have 3 teams in a small vicinity, but you know who survives here. The Dojo, as a content creator, Timmy started off before diving into competitive. This was the playground, so I fully expect Dojo to excel here. They've already got a knock onto Jaguares, and Element 6 has been eliminated off the screen, but the reset coming in. Timmy has the Bangle, has an L-Star, and wants to find success, but Northeption will be that next team that they have to turn their sights to, but Designful isn't fully healed, but they're trying to rotate out.
Timmy swapped to Anchor so perfectly there, like instantly, drops back behind a bit of cover, lays down fire with the L-Star to make sure that his team is safe. That was expertly played, and it's the only reason the Dojo get to continue into the top 7, perhaps beyond. As you said, they're healing a bit slow, and time is of the essence. The ring is starting to close, and they are not the only ones that have to move. Dojo and Northeption will be going out alongside each other. Northeption do get a wall to separate themselves a little bit more, but in the ring, what awaits them in the ring? Alliance, Pulverex still alive, Xset the last member, and Start a Fight still have to make their way in.
But everything to the left of this is fully open. You're just trying to play on the road, any kind of head peek you can, and Ascend has been in their positioning from at least 10 minutes ago in this match, and being able to fence it up. This is starting to look like the first match where they won. You can see the Dojo rotating around. Hackis is still up for Alliance, as well as Yuki and Effect trying their best. Grab lift to the sky. Black Hole in between, threading the needle of the 2 Dark Veils, does get poked and prodded, but everything is connecting. You see the damage going out, and it's a fight in the air.
Everybody trying to get airborne, but the gravity lift finally expires. Effect goes down. Yuki's going to follow. An Alliance on the ropes. Have Dojo pushing up on them. This is going to be the end of Alliance. Dojo could take them out.
Start a fight, fall, and Hackis last alive. You can see that is going to be Effect stepping back in his chair. He knows he's fooled and must rely on Hackett to make something happen, but it is Ascend, it is Dojo and Hackett last standing for the final 3, and Timmy up in the rocks, but Ascend is so healthy. They already have a knock-on enemy, a knock-on design, and now we push to cover the distance.
It's just a matter of finishing the job. We've seen them do it before, and a little bit of sandwiching coming in. The last member of Alliance helping push the Dojo out, getting a bit of revenge for what happened earlier. Ascend are set to mark their second victory on World's Edge, and it just falls into their laps. What a call from Kashera to put Ascend in that position to get them their second win in 3 matches.
That is so impressive. What a turnaround from Ascend, doing what they needed to do. Those circles, when they start to pull out west of Monument, tend to